Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Bonjour. Comment ça va? Yeah. Looking good. Looking good. It is June 6th, 2023. June 6th, 2023, and we should begin with a greeting. Chunji Chambomanimke Kyungbe. Hello. Kajong Mengse. Emily.
Please join me in 가정맹세. 가정맹세 1. 자녀국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 자녀국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 오, 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천연을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천일국 주인, 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 천일국 시대를 맞이하여 절대 신앙, 절대 사랑, 절대 복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상 천국과 천상 전국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
맹세하나이다. All right, I'd like to call upon Mr. Mr. David Rogers. If you could lead us in prayer, please.
Thank you, Pastor. Good morning, our family. Please let's join together now in prayer to start our day. Our Heavenly Parent, our families assembled here are so grateful that we can be able to share this moment, this time that our true parents have given to us to join together, to be able to seek you out and be able to listen again to that voice within us that advises us and guides us clearly. We're grateful, our Heavenly Parent, for our families traveling across continents over the hundreds of years, thousands of years that enabled us to be born at this time, to be able to join with our true parents and follow and lead our Heavenly Parent with what the ideology of our divine principle. We pray, our Heavenly Parent, today to put it in action again, to meet people without fear, to tell them of the good news that the true parents are upon the earth, and to increase the size of our greater worldwide family. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunities that we have to join with you and with people. We give thanks for this day now in the names of our Rogers family and all the families that are gathered here now today. Aju.
Thank you. Thank you, David. All right, everyone, let's go straight into our groups and share some gratitude with each other. All right, welcome back. We were with Edna and Dr. William Seelig and Stephen Machiko. I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than that. Could be the best group ever. It's up there, that's for sure. All right, let's hear from Susan.
Yeah, we were in a breakout room with Sam Harley and with Momoyo's son. And Sam started to share something so nice about do you mind, Sam, to continue with that? It was that if we're connected to the true vine, it's important to be, it was a message that he had heard at a service.
Yeah, there's a Presbyterian church that I visit here in Ventura. And on Sunday, the sermon was about John, I can't remember if it was John 15 or John 17, but it was about you need to be connected to the true vine. And if you are, then you need to let yourself be pruned by the master vintner. And the pastor said the message was, he used to always read that message as being, you have to produce fruit, you have to produce fruit. But he said, when he reads it again, he said, that's not what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying, you need to be connected to the true vine. And as long as you're connected, you are going to produce fruit. So he said, the most important thing to be is connected or united. So it was the same message that Dr. Young's been giving us. It's our connection, and it's the quality of our love that's going to produce the fruits. It's like Dr. Young said so many times, if we have this quality of love and this quality of connection with true parents, with the heavenly parents, then the results is going to show up. So I just thought it was interesting that the message was absolutely the same thing.
Yeah, so nice.
Very good. Yep. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Susan. All right. How about June? In June.
Yeah, that's me. So I'm grateful for listening to the I've been curious about the Godables earlier this year. So when I told God, well, okay, while I'm eating breakfast, I'll listen to the Godables earlier this year. So I've been going backwards, like, I don't know what number we're on now, but if we're on 117, then I'm going 116, 115, 114, on and on backwards. So I'm into the 30s now. And I'm grateful for those, because I'm looking for like the way that, like all of us seeking to break through and witnessing. And though number 68 is really good for that, by the way, for this year. And then but also I have bigger questions of how to raise my with a grandchild, how to raise like a child with heart and character. So I was going over the part where fathers how he grew up, and now that we're older and we have more heart and experience, then we can grasp those things much deeper. So it's just amazing the atmosphere that father grew up in with the Confucian. I mean, his mother, all his entire family, his clan was centered on really serving and embracing the community and embracing your nation, and then living out that, like in that, being that example in their community. So the mother would get up even at midnight to serve people who came by, and they would give of their money and their time and their expense to serve beggars, travelers. So many people. And so he grew up with that kind of incredible example. And I'm thinking, how can I, I'm looking for ways to, and then I'm grateful for Reverend Young that, you have to like really pray to receive, like to be the center of heart and love. So how can you do that? really get up in the morning and pray and ask God those deep questions in the back of my head. So yeah, how can you like really do that in your family? So I'm grateful for Reverend Young and our true parents, and I'm grateful for, yeah, thank you. And other things that I'm also picking up too, because I'm studying also like how Gandhi raised his Arun Gandhi, how his grandfather raised him, stayed with him in 2 years in the ashram, and it's incredible what what Gandhi taught him, just like in an hour a day, how he raised his grandson to be a real person of peace. Wow. So I'm hoping that I can really, yeah, so to incorporate these into family life and see how we can do it in like according to our unique situations and our unique temperaments, but also yeah, how to do that in my family and the relationships around me, and teach others.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you, June. Okay. Michael Kellett.
It's just a testimony to gratitude for young people and their, I don't know, I took my son and 3 of the Sharp boys to just north of Santa Cruz called Davenport, and the Shark Point. There's a place where it looks like a shark and the rock there. But my testimony, my gratitude is, I don't know, it was gratitude. We went through a tunnel. It's like a half an hour, like a cave that goes all the way underneath Highway 1. And like a knucklehead, I went with the kids. And then it becomes like a sewer tunnel. And I got in there, and it's like 15 minutes. I'm in squatting, I'm overweight and I'm squatting and I'm trying to breathe. And I'm with these young people. Like, what am I doing in here? Claustrophobia. And, as you get older, you kind of, what if I get a heart attack? Are they going to drag me out or what? Like, you guys, what are you doing? We have these major lights. I have batteries on them because you can't see. It's complete darkness. Here I am, 68, with these 16-year-olds, like, oh my God, and we finally, no, you can go back. I'll go back. I can't go back now. What am I gonna do? Anyway, finally made it, got through. And it was, honest to God, the other side of Highway 1 is Shangri-La. It's green. It's just beautiful. It was like paradise. I swear to God. But I had it. Well, let's wait for half an hour. And I want to go back over. I can't. You can't get out of there. It's all junk. It's all beautiful foliage. So okay, took a breath. I'm going to do it again. But at least I understood, how to determine where it was, because you didn't know how far it was going to take to get through that tunnel. But anyway, I get back out the other side. Right, beautiful. Get back out, and there's a couple there from the Ukraine. They lived in Michigan many years now. 3 years in Palo Alto. A father-daughter. And if I was to if I had 10 minutes or 15 minutes to share about my belief, about the world, about true parents, about my experience in the Soviet Union, my life, and how I got a witness to somebody in that moment that the Messiah is here, that's the only hope, I did it. And I had them in my arms, hugging them, telling them that parent-child relationship is everything. That is the truth of the universe. And we're together just in one in heart. I have their phone number. They're going to come and visit me. So whatever I went through there, because I said to them, don't go in there what I did. And he goes, no, maybe I will. He's my age, and with his daughter, who's a senior at Gunn High School in Palo Alto. But anyway, and they go, we want you to meet our sons. They believe the way you think. And we all are so concerned living, in Russia, in Ukraine. And anyway, I just want to it was just to be able to be there in the freshness of the Pacific, to go there, let go of all the stuff that goes on and just to breathe it. But then to know, and I have to say, the last point was today to be with our brother who's in charge of our Christian ministry here. Just my last words were like, the only hope is for people of like minds who have a religious base, the religious community. We've got to wake up together. So I kind of stepped into my own doo-doo. I mean, I have to be more serious about meeting people who are of faith, and we need to really come together to deal with this moment in history and providence, God's providence. Anyway.
All right. Mike, you like living on the edge.
Oh, trust me.
Your poor wife. All right, where's Larry Krishnak? He had his hand up.
Oh yeah, I was kind of fiddling with the reaction thing there. I was just thinking about Saturday, you know, we started this Adopt a Highway program for UPF in Whatcom County. We have 2 mile stretch of road from where people get on the highway going south to the larger town of Bellingham. A couple months back, I saw the sign, this Adopt a Highway place is available. And long story short, I set it all up for Universal Peace Federation. So we'll have a sign out there that says Universal Peace Federation every time people get on the highway. But on Saturday, my wife and I, Ray Sabo and Arnold Evanson, went out for 2 hours to pick up trash on the interstate highway for the first time. And it was kind of fun. It was interesting, but what I want to share is at the end of it, Arnold found an iPhone on the side of the highway, a brand new iPhone.
Wow.
And as we're going back in there, he checks it out and said, you know, he found a number there to call if it's lost. So I called the guy up and he said, oh my God, you found my phone. I mean, this is someplace where nobody ever walks. And he said his brother had left it on top of his car and he didn't know it. And he drove away and that he thought it was lost forever. So that day Arnold went, he met the guy. It was a nice Hispanic family, Christian people, and they just were so happy. And they wait. I thought, you know, just do something. It doesn't matter what you do. God has something prepared for you. So anyway, that was, you know, we never expected to find an iPhone on the side of the highway. We did find some other interesting garbage, but nothing like that. So thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, lucky to have you. Lucky to see.
Can't wait to go back again, see what I find.
All right.
Amazing.
Putting the name of UPF out there.
Yeah, it'll be right there on the road.
All right, very good.
Mm.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. On this anniversary of D-Day, let's go to our study. We're going to keep on studying Mother of Peace.
Mother of Peace, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and Memoir by Hak Ja Han Moon. Chapter 1, My Cherished, Lifelong Wish, page 1 to 5. My cherished lifelong wish. A woman shouts Manse for independence. It was the first day of March 1919, the beginning of spring by the lunar calendar's marking of seasons. The temperature remained below freezing, and the people of Anju, a village in Pyeongan province of what is now North Korea, were experiencing biting frost. A woman braved the cold to cook her family's morning meal. She lit the wood fire and set rice on the stove, and then her attention shifted from the morning routine. She lifted her arms and, from the back of a cupboard, carefully took out an item wrapped in a plain cotton cloth. By the light of the fire and a ray of sunshine shining through a crack under the door, the woman untied the cloth to reveal another, larger, and more substantial cloth, one with the red and blue yin-yang symbol on a white background. As she laid it out on the table, the design on the larger cloth came into full view. It was a Korean flag. This emblem of her people was always in this woman's mind, even in her dreams. Feelings of sadness and deep emotion rushed into her heart. Hearing the soft cries of her daughter, who was awakening, she rolled up the flag, wrapped it again, and returned it to the back of the cupboard. With their 5-year-old daughter on her lap, this village woman shared breakfast with her husband, who had returned from his early morning work in the fields. She then busied herself cleaning the kitchen, living room, porch, and yard. A little after noon, trying to appear nonchalant, she left the house with an expectant heart, her daughter on her back, and the flag in her bosom. A narrow gravel path to the Anju market meandered through her village. It joined a larger road on which she met others making their way. A farmer leading a cow, a young man carrying a heavy load on an A-frame carrier, a mother with a bundle on her head. Some were walking at a leisurely pace, others quickly, all heading for the market. Arriving at her destination, the woman stopped in front of a vegetable stand, centrally located in one of the most crowded areas of the market. Her child awoke from her afternoon nap, taken on her mother's back. Turning her head, the mother quietly looked at her beloved daughter and smiled. To this daughter, her mother's smile was the most beautiful sight in the world. Suddenly, a loud shout burst through the quiet of the market. Korean independence, Manse! As if she were a runner hearing the sound of the starting gun. The woman quickly pulled the Korean flag from her bosom. Waving it vigorously, she joined the crowd, shouting, Manse! Victory for 10,000 years! With all her strength, she shouted, Korean independence, Manse! The first shout had been a signal, and all at once, people in the market were taking out Korean flags and vigorously waving them high above their heads. From every corner of the open market, cries of Korean independence, Manse, reverberated. This woman's voice was the loudest of all. Shocked by the sudden melee and scores of Korean flags bursting into view, market-goers unprepared for the uprising had to decide what to do. Some fled in fear of possible consequences. Others, the ones who believed in their nation's independence, joined the ranks of the demonstrators. The woman had been eagerly awaiting this day. She had stayed up many nights with her daughter, sewing her nation's flag, her hands shaking. Sitting under a kerosene lamp, she spoke to her daughter about Korea, its people, its faith, its ageless traditions, and the meaning of the Manse independence movement. Listening to her mother, the little girl nodded her head, taking in everything. Now clinging to her mother's back, she heard the shouts of Manse. She felt the innocence and righteousness of her countrymen and women dressed in white, ready to lay down their lives for the sake of their nation's right to exist.
Thank you, Karen. The March 1st independence demonstrations took place not only in Anju, they occurred simultaneously in Seoul and across the nation. At most sites, they included a public reading of the Korean Declaration of Independence. This public outcry was not futile symbolism. It was an act of peaceful, nonviolent protest, an acclamation that the Korean people will cherish for eternity. Within moments, the demonstrators' ears were assaulted by the sound of whistles and boots. With batons and rifles, dozens of policemen converged upon the market. They mercilessly struck everyone in their path. Right and left, people were beaten to the ground, bloodied. The policemen did not distinguish between man or woman, young or old. Desperate to protect her daughter, this mother had no choice but to hold back her tears and retreat. Although she was filled with the resolve to stand to the last, she knew that God's wish for is for human fellowship, and that bloodshed would only increase the burden of pain in God's heart. And there was something else. Something told this mother that it was not time yet for her nation to rise. It told her that in the future of Korea, a woman would be born with an unprecedented destiny, a woman who would break the mold of this fallen world. Within this light of hope in her heart, she endured the humiliation of that afternoon. In accordance with God's providence and the absolute faith and love of Christian believers since biblical times, what that woman conceived in faith entered the world 24 years later. To her lineage, the only begotten daughter of God was born, as the one called to fulfill that woman's dreams. Anju was my birthplace. It was an epicenter of Korean patriotism and it is no coincidence that it was an area in which Christianity was first introduced to Korea. That woman was my grandmother, Cho Won-mo, and she continued her support of the independence movement, and she engaged her daughter, my mother, and me in her activities. Okay. I was just 2 years old when my nation's history took its next turn, liberation from Japanese occupation. On that day, August 15th, 1945, my grandmother, Jo Won-mo, again had a child on her back while she shouted, "Manse." But this time the child was me. And this time my grandmother was shouting and waving our national flag with joy and delight for our nation's newfound freedom. God chose our family, a family of 3 generations of only daughters. Cho Won-mo, my grandmother, a woman who committed her heart to the independence movement, was an only daughter. Hong Sune, my mother, a woman who single-mindedly committed her flesh and blood to fulfill her faith that she would meet Christ at his second advent, was her only daughter. I was her only child and the only daughter of the 3rd generation. Among the oppressed people of the Korean Peninsula, God's only begotten daughter was born. As I write these words in 2019, the centennial of the March 1st independence movement, I am pursuing my forebear's dream, the dream of the ages, the completion of God's providence of salvation throughout the earth. Thank you.
All right, there it is. They had a flash mob in the Korean market. I wonder how they all knew it was going to happen. There was no social media at the time, but somehow they all knew to be there with their flags. Pretty amazing. Joe won more. Three only daughters in a row. Yeah. All right, let's go to our breakouts and share what we learned from our reading this morning. All right. Joe, one more. Making the flag. I was making the point that you had to make the flag in those days. You didn't go to Walmart and buy one. You had to make it yourself. And sitting around the fire at night, stitching this flag together, all the different people. And then they coordinated to meet up all over the country, different meetups, and then flash mobs. Amazing, amazing. All right, Wayne San.
One of the slides that spoke about when Damonum and the grandmother raised the flags, they did it with a righteous heart, but they also had the wisdom to know that the time wasn't quite right, and they retreated. They got out of harm's way, and it's a good thing that she did. That she had the balance of wisdom and righteousness of heart, and God could work with that. I was in a breakout with Rob Schwartz, and he was talking about him being in Korea during the Kwangju uprisings in 1980. And his story is very similar about that, about where to take a stand, when to move back. If he wanted to share a little bit about that, it's a very fascinating story he was telling. Yeah, thank you.
Rob, you want to share about that?
It was an unusual time. I went to get married, to bring my wife to America, but we were sitting in the Lotte Hotel, and all of a sudden, I thought somebody released tear gas into the vent, into the air conditioning system or something, and then turned out the whole area had been tear gassed. And anyway, I met some young people there. We got out with my wife was very courageous, and everybody was streaming out of the subway, and she pulled me into the subway, and we got out, and there were thousands of people leaving the city, tanks in front of the city hall. And it was really clearly there are rumors that like 200 students were killed trying to take over the military tanks in Gwangju. We were, of course, in Seoul, but it was spreading out throughout the whole country. And I remember talking to a young person who said, "We need democracy. Don't you support this demonstration?" And I remember telling him, you got to realize this is what the North Koreans are somehow pushing this, and you have to realize that it's a luxury to be running around trying to protest right now for democracy when it's only supporting your enemy that's ready to invade as soon as they can have an excuse. So what Wayne is saying, you got to be wise to know when you should be, demonstrating and when you should be able to step back. It was quite an interesting experience, right, to be in Korea at that time. So I think protesting it's good to protest, but not to be crazy.
All right. So Joe, one more, had a baby on her back when she was protesting.
Right.
So hopefully she obviously was very careful also. All right. Thank you. Anyone else like to share this morning? Speak now or forever hold your tongue.
Okay. Just a reminder, today is the anniversary of D-Day of Normandy, Americans invading Europe to save Europe. just something we ought to remember and think about. It's very important. It's a world-changing moment in human history, and led to father's rescue from the Japanese. So I think it's a very important day.
Amen. Yep, big day. In Europe, this is a huge celebration day. Yeah. Liberating. All right, thank you. Anyone else? We're early. If nobody speaks up, I'm going to have to sing a song.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Melissa.
Hi, I just remember June 6th, 6676. A group of us MFTers went to East Gardens. We were blessed to go there because we were top fundraisers. And it was after one of those big rallies. It was either Yankee Stadium or Madison Square Gardens, I don't know. Anyway, so we got the pleasure of meeting true parents at East Gardens, and Mr. Kamiyama grabbed me and said, "Here, come." And yeah, I was the first one to shake True Father's hand. And it was really, we got 2 children were there, and they had a breakfast buffet where we went down the line and got our breakfast. And then Father was thinking about going to New York City, but because of all those 6s, 6676, he decided he shouldn't go. Yeah. And so we went to a movie. Somebody said, this movie's one that has a Messiah message or something. And it was like, so, oh, okay. Nobody knew what the movie is about. So it was actually the man who fell from the earth or something like that, like David Bowie was that. and it was like anyway, it was getting more fun. Like David Bowie's out in space and this alien was up there, and I'm like, should we be watching this? And then I said, and then Mr. Kamiyama had fallen asleep, so somebody woke him up, and so he says, yeah, let's leave, so we all left, and then we went out on the street and we sang A Generation of Righteousness really loud. Yeah, that's my memory of June 6, 76.
Precious memory.
Yeah.
And you shook Father's hand.
Yes.
And you've never washed your hands since.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. How about Caroline?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I just wanted to say, kind of on the heels of what Pastor Frank was saying too, Betsy Ross sat by kerosene lamp or whatever light they used at that time to sew our American flag. So I just really felt there was a parallel between Mother's story and our own history.
All right, there you go. Very good. Thank you. All right. Are we good today? We good to go? We're gonna have a good day. All right. I would like to ask Karen Rogers if you could close us in prayer, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much for your love for us all. Through history, Heavenly Parent, you've always been standing there waiting for us to come back. Thank you so much for our true parents. We are blessed to know and blessed to work with this time of peace after all the wars and all the things that happened in history. Thank you so much. We can take our ancestors with us, Heavenly Parent, and have them receive the blessings that they are due. But we pray so much for our understanding of our true mother and what she seeks us to do in every moment, in every place where we are. Thank you so much for her and her efforts still, Heavenly Parent, and especially our true parents' love throughout our lives. Thank you so much. We pray to go out today and start a new generation of righteousness. who can bring peace. In the name of David and Kara Rogers family and all of blessed families here. Aju.
Adieu. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
All right. God bless
everyone. Bye. Take care. Bye.
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 God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.